How long after CJC-1295 can I eat? Well, this is not medical advice, but I can tell you in this video, I'm going to deconstruct why many of you may be losing all the benefits of the investment that you made in your health by utilizing CJC-1295 because you're turning off the growth hormone response with insulin. We'll also deconstruct how to fast, why most people, their metabolic system's hijacked, and why there may be some other routes that you want to take even before getting on CJC-1295. Now, CJC-1295 is not FDA approved, and it is a molecule that does send the signal to your pituitary gland to increase growth hormone, which there's so many benefits from having adequate levels of growth hormone. But I'm going to share with you some things you can do on your own to activate this beautiful pathway in your body. So I'm Regan Archibald. Let's jump into the science. For those of you who want to go deeper and work with a talented medical team who is very well versed in peptides, functional medicine, regenerative medicine, go to agelessfuture.com, talk to our health ascension specialists, and get your blood labs ran so you can know if this is safe and if this is correct for you. Okay, so what does the research say? Well, this is interesting because if you're taking any kind of growth hormone releasing peptide like tesamorelin or macamorelin or even sermorelin, and you want to venture into CJC-1295, once again, make sure you know the source. You're working with a compounding pharmacist. This is not a do-it-yourself project. You do not want to go and venture into the world of research use only peptides unless you are a research facility, then that's great. But some of these molecules have not been tested. And when you have a 503A compounding pharmacy or a 503B, then your doctor can write you a unique customized prescription and you can get it an environment that is very sterile and makes things safer. With the caveat, CJC does cause some flushing. You can have some immune responses. So once again, work with your doctor before trying anything. So here's what CJC does if you're not in a fasted state. Well, here's a study. This was done in year 2024. And this is a clinical protocol. But what they found is CJC-1295 typically used without DAC. So DAC is that drug affinity complex that prolongs the half-life of it, but it also creates more of a synthetic pulse on the growth hormone, which increases your risk factors. So ideally do it without DAC. Once again, talk to your provider about this. But what they found is that they included what is the best time to inject it. They found that if you eat before you inject CJC, then you don't get the same IGF-1 response. And in some cases, what they found is you actually have insulin that gets released and it blunts the effectiveness of CJC altogether. And so what they recommend is CJC-1295, and you can take that. I like taking it in the morning when I use this because then I get the nice little flush. I go work out. I get a double benefit of growth hormone because I'm working out and I'm actually feel warm faster. And then at night is a great time to take Ipamorelin, which works on the ghrelin pathway. It's a somatostatin inhibitor. But you want to wait at least 90 minutes after dinner before taking this. Now, if you're eating small meals, that's where 90 minutes becomes somewhat nuanced because you may metabolize things quicker. Or if you're somebody who follows a ketogenic diet, you may not get that insulin surge. And I know some of you are these phenomenal biohackers, and I see your comments. And many of you are so detailed that I'm learning a lot as I go. So thank you for that. But to activate this growth hormone pathway, ideally, you want to avoid that post-meal insulin spike. And so one of the lifestyle habits that we put into place, and I've talked about this a lot, just so that you can get the best benefits of these growth hormone peptides and just the best benefits of sleep, which is so important, is after dinner, go for a walk. And this, if you have dogs, this is non-negotiable because you know they need to urinate and take care of dog business, like sniffing what other dog has peed there recently, and it's almost like they're reading code when they're smelling things, but they need to get outside. And so do you, because anytime you go and move your body, if you eat a big meal And now you've got the sugar circulating in your blood. Now the pancreas secretes insulin, and insulin helps pull that sugar into the cell. But if you're sedentary, you just go and eat dinner and then go watch a movie or just sit on the couch and drool on yourself. Well, you're going to get that sugar is not going to get mobilized as effectively as when you're moving your muscles. And so even a light workout, go in your gym. If it's cold and you don't want to go outside and you don't have dogs and you hate the sun or whatever, the darkness, then don't, but go move your body, do some sit-ups, do some push-ups. It's really important because the sugar gets pulled into your muscles, and that is one of the best places where you want it. You want as much healthy muscle mass as you need so that you can stabilize your blood sugar. Now, if you're using some of the GLP-1s, maybe you're on tirzepatide, for example, and tirzepatide with that GLP-1 and GIP, you're going to get better transmission of insulin. And if you eat a smaller meal, maybe you don't need to wait 90 minutes. Maybe you can adjust it slightly. So once again, it's something where you've got to analyze the data and figure out where you are. But if you want to play it safe, fast as long as you possibly can. And we follow what's called the 3-2-1 method. So that's 3 hours before you go to bed, stop eating. That gives you plenty of time to access the growth hormone pulse that CJC is going to provide. So 3 hours before you go to bed, stop eating. 2 hours before you go to bed, stop drinking fluids. And then an hour before you go to bed is a good time to dim the lights, get relaxed, read a book, connect with your partner, connect with your family, connect with your pets. If you're doing that, then that can circumvent this. But just to play it safe, I would think of what you ate, go back and say, what calories did I consume? And many of you are in our program, and so you have macros counter, you're working with Nikki, our fitness trainer, and so you know what kind of macros you ate. What was your carbohydrate intake at dinner? And if you consume, maybe this is where you consume 200 grams of carbohydrates, maybe you consume 50, 60 grams of protein. You may want to make sure you get that full 90 minutes, but maybe you're on a different macro schedule where you're eating a little more fat, fewer carbohydrates, and you only consume 50 grams of carbohydrates, and you decide you want to go to sleep sooner. Well, great. Maybe you can compress that time to 60 minutes. But generally speaking, if you are eating that post-meal surge of insulin, that can be detrimental when it comes to CJC. If you want it to prolong and you want something in your stomach because you get hungry again, just having a little snack, eat some turkey or string cheese, that's not going to be enough to really pulse the insulin level for most people. But once again, work with your medical team and see what your blood sugar looks like. Don't just look at hemoglobin A1C and glucose. Look at your fasting insulin, look at your C-peptide, look at the whole complex, because that's the real magic. But for you to really look, feel, and perform your best, growth hormone is one of the major aspects of this. And so CJC, while we still have more work to do on the research side of it, could be one of the best therapies out there as long as you're not stopping the progress by eating food at the wrong time. So for those of you who want to go deeper and learn more, you're going to want to watch my video on can women take CJC-1295 Ipamorelin. We'll provide a link in the notes below. I really appreciate you being part of the community. Do me a favor, share it with somebody who you think could benefit from it, and go ahead and subscribe, comment below. See you on the next video.